Welcome, and thank you for coming along to have a chat about your new play.
Thank you.
Which of you would like to introduce the play first?
Do you want to say a few words about it?
Yeah.
So, what's the play called? Give us an outline of what it's about.
The play's called Asylum of Grace, and the story is based on a young girl who goes travelling from Manchester, set in the 1982, goes travelling around England, working in all the hotels, and finds herself going to Eastbourne, and quickly realising that she doesn't want to be there and wants to move back to Manchester. But she meets a lad, gets pregnant, and ends up like marrying him because of her family's religious beliefs, and that she can't go back to Manchester. So she marries him, and then it's just about their relationship, and it deals with like abuse within relationships and depression, and she attempts suicide after having the baby and ends up in a psychiatric unit.
Neil came to me with the script and I thought it was brilliant. It's a real kind of honest piece of writing, and it was inspired by a true story, and I always like true stories, so that attracted me to the script.
I think it's sort of, the story goes on like a journey anyway, from like lightness to dark and then back through to light. So I didn't want people to, you know, it's 2 weeks before Christmas or a week before Christmas. I didn't want people to come and leave and be like, oh God, I'm so depressed. So like there is some really funny moments in it. It's got a lot of humour in there. So, but essentially it's a drama. So
Another thing that I think that's so great about this script is that the play itself is supporting a charity as well. They've read the script and love it. So it's also been put forward as part of the official lineup for International Women's Week in March. I'm quite proud of that, and I know Neil's proud that his first script's been selected for something, which is really, we feel, is quite an important charity. It's a domestic violence charity called Independent Choices, which the play is supporting.
In March, or I think in April, but certainly running in March to coincide with that, but not organised around it, is going to be the government's extension of the term abuse to include a lot of things like controlling behaviour. So moving away from kind of physical harm to more psychological harm. My take is, without seeing the play, is that this play kind of trails that and seems to deal with that. Is that the case?
yeah, it is. I think, and it was funny yesterday because we was blocking a scene, and it does deal with control. I think that's the main sort of theme running through it, and different elements of control as well. When we was casting it and going through the script as well, I wanted to cast the male role as somebody who would come across as both physically and emotionally attractive to people in the audience. And so like when he first comes on stage, the audience will instantly sort of warm to him and find him attractive and like be charmed by him.
What is it that you want to see the play deliver in changing for experiences that others are going to go through?
I think, like you heard the term, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and I do think it is going to give people a view as to what can go on. Do you know what I mean? Behind closed doors, psychological abuse is just as powerful on somebody's life and health and that to what physical or sexual abuse is.
And what would you like to see as an outcome of the play?
Of the play? I mean, I think another important thing is I think it's raising awareness, you know, about domestic abuse, physical, mental, and like Neil said, from behind closed doors, that maybe people haven't thought about even being associated with the term abuse. I think a lot of people, when they hear abuse, think it's either physical or sexual. I don't think people take the term mental abuse very seriously. And I think this play really brings that out.
You know, you don't go on a date, do you, and somebody sits there and tells you on the first date that they're controlling or physically abusive, mentally abusive. And so it's a slow development, isn't it, throughout a relationship and that. And I myself, I've been in a relationship where there was like a lot of control in that. And anybody who knows me would know that would presume that I'm not the sort of person to find myself in a relationship like that. And yet I did, and I didn't realise it myself until all the other aspects started coming into it, and then I thought, right, I've got to get out of this now. So yeah, I do think it could make people recognise psychological abuse.
Yeah, I think psychological abuse more than anything else, because I think it's something a lot of people put up with and think it's part of the relationship and it's normal.
Yeah,
and I think that's people. I think people don't think it is abuse, and they just let themselves go deeper and deeper and spiral into it, and it almost becomes routine.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people do need to be aware of, and I hope this play raises awareness of that it isn't healthy at all. And I think that it's only a recent thing that is starting to come to the surface as abuse, and I hope that people can see that in this play, and maybe they will see stuff from past relationships, present relationships, and maybe start thinking about things.
Extension of the word abuse, and the idea that you really can't tell who's going to be abuser because they're all over the place, has a certain resonance in politics today. Certainly when you look at stories around Jimmy Savile, the idea that abusers are everywhere is commonplace. I find that particularly troubling. Not that abusers are, but that we look at other people as though they are a potential abuser rather than a potential friend. So I'm intrigued to see how the play comes out. It certainly sounds like a play for the moment. So thank you for coming for the interview, and look forward to reviewing the play.
Cheers, brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to deliver where it is
Yes.
and when?
The play Asylum of Grace on at the 3 Minute Theatre inside Afflecks Palace on the 13th to the 15th of December, and tickets are now available online.
Fantastic. Thanks.
On Skiddle.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you
Brilliant.
very
Thank you very much.
much.
It's
Thank
great.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Did my